Hello everyone, welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're all doing good and well. So time for a bit of a channel update, but also just to sort of talk about what I'm really looking forward to in the coming weeks and months, because there's absolutely loads. I mean, if you think that this channel covers, music, it covers album reviews, particularly rock and metal, but I also talk about sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and September is a month just full of stuff coming out that I really enjoy and I want to talk about. But the reality is, if I really want to talk about absolutely everything that's coming, I'm just not going to achieve that. So really, I'm going to be quite focused in what I do. Still, there's going to be album reviews, obviously, because there's so many albums coming out in September. I will be reviewing some of my select favourites that I've just been really looking forward to. I'll talk about those very shortly. And I'll also be talking a bit about, so I've got the Malazan video, for instance, on the fantasy side of the channel. I'm going to be talking about the 10th book in the series, the last book in the main series, as I understand, right? Then I'm also, because Wheel of Time Season 2 is out in September on Amazon Prime. Those of you with good memories or that have been subbed to the channel since pretty much the beginning know I'm a Wheel of Time fan. It's where the Green Man name for the channel comes from. All right, I know there's like the Green Man Music Festival and things like that, and the Green Man this, the Green Man that. There are lots of other references to green men. So I just thought it suited the channel at the time, and because it was Wheel of Time related, I decided to use it. But looking back, maybe I would have changed the Green Man, but I'm stuck with it now. I just feel I'm stuck with the Green Man. But anyway, what I might have to do, because I can't realistically see myself reviewing every single Wheel of Time episode like I did last time. I think with everything else I want to do on the channel in September, all the commitments I have as well outside of YouTube, I don't think I will manage to adequately cover all the Wheel of Time episodes like I did last time. But what I will still do is either a series summary, or I will do shorts videos of a kind of short of what I think of each episode in a sort of brief kind of minute long summary, so there is still some coverage of the Wheel of Time Season 2. Now was an incredibly divisive first season, so I have mixed feelings about how this is going to go. I think they've got a lot of hard work to make up for the weak points of the first season, although I didn't hate it like a lot of other people did. I thought the middle of the season was actually very strong. It was the start and end of season 1 that I didn't like it so much. Wheel of Time. Anyway, enough Wheel of Time for the moment. Obviously, there's a whole host of horror movies that are coming out quite soon and in September, but also October. The plan is the next horror movie tier list is coming up this coming Saturday. It's more kind of indie films on that list and not so many super recent films, not all from this year. There are a few films from this year on that list. I do recommend you check that video out because there are some that I would definitely recommend you still watch from that tier list. But the heavy hitters of the year, right, are all going to be on that sort of October/Halloween timing tier list, where I'll talk about the films that I really did kind of thoroughly enjoy. Anyway, let's go back a step now to albums. Right, this channel is very much an album review channel, and it has been since it's the start. And so there are some really big releases that I can't wait for in September. I'm just going to talk about 5 of them for this video. One of them is Slowdive, Everything is Alive, the shoegaze legends coming back with their 5th LP, the first one since the absolutely wonderful self-titled album from 2017. A band that for me can't really do any wrong. Now, the only thing I'll say is I think that the single that they released, Kisses, that's the only single I've heard. I now intend not to listen to anymore. I just want to listen to the album when that comes out on the 1st of September, right? But the single Kisses I found a little bit underwhelming, to be honest. It was decent, it was solid, but looking back, just maybe a little bit underwhelming actually thinking of it. But it's Slowdive. I think it's still going to be something good. I can't wait. Anything Slowdive is usually very, very good and exciting. So looking forward to that as a shoegaze fan on the 1st of September. Now moving on to things that are slightly heavier. For the 8th of September, Dying Fetus come back with their 9th studio album, Make Them Beg for Death. And really looking forward to that. Also Silosis, another favourite band of mine. releasing their 6th studio album, Sign of Things to Come, on that same day, on the 8th of September. Two great bands. I have a feeling those could be two great albums, so very much looking forward to those. Following week, on the 15th September, a couple more albums I just want to mention. Baroness Stone, another band. This band really can seemingly do no wrong. They just release quality albums. Gold and grey, purple, yellow and green, red, blue, you name it. Yeah, Baroness Stone is one that I'm sure will deliver. Probably, if it's Baroness, it's probably good. Again, another band that keep delivering. In fact, most of these bands, all bands are pretty consistent. Tesseract, War of Being, the next one I wanted to talk about just briefly. Prog / gent metal. The band have been around that for a while, been over a decade. And again, a band with a pretty consistent discography. And I think this album, if it's going by the singles I've heard so far, I mean, that epic length one, I think was 11 minutes. I think it might have been the title track was something else. If the rest of the album is like that, Tesseract maybe will have an album of the year contender, but of course I can't possibly say that until I've heard the whole album when it comes out on the 15th of September. So, I've been talking quite a bit about horror recently on the channel, and probably don't need to talk about it. It's been a horror-heavy period, right, on the channel. And I've been enjoying doing that. It's just been fun. I like horror a lot, and it's one of the easier things to probably talk about and discuss. It's less kind of a deep dive that's needed into lots of these horror films than, something a bit more involved. So that's probably why there's been quite a bit of coverage, because with my time having been slightly less recently with being able to do a lot of content, horror is just a bit easier to cover. Basically, that's the simple reason. That there's been a bit of more horror recently than there has usually on The Green Man. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to Elevator Game a lot. This horror film is going to be out on Shudder, so you probably need to be subbed to Shudder in order to watch it. But it sounds really interesting. Any horror films that have an interesting concept, this sounds like it's got a slightly survival horror angle. I mean, it's this guy that's looking for his sister who went missing whilst playing this online elevator game thing. And there's all these rules about when you're in the elevator, and it just sounds quite wild and wacky, but right up my street. I love wild and wacky. You guys all know that. Think Infinity Pool from earlier this year, right? Completely off the wall film. I absolutely adored it in the end. So, at least I had a blast watching it for sure. So, Elevator Game, hopefully that will be an enjoyable movie. It sounds just very interesting. Also, The Nun 2, I mean, some of you are looking forward to that. I saw that in the poll. Big fan of the Conjuring franchise here. Didn't really like the first Nun film that much. I found it a bit boring, in all honesty, but I think the sequel looks good in the trailer anyway. I have higher hopes for this. I have faith that this might be a bit better. Different director as well for this film, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Saw 10, another one I'm personally looking forward to. I know Saw isn't for everyone. It's brutal, it's gory, but if this is at least as good as something like Saw 6 or maybe Saw 3, which I thought were pretty decent Saw entries, particularly Saw 6, then I'll be happy enough with that. Just want to go and see it. There's a certain, I saw the first Saw film when it came out, when I was at uni, and I have quite fond memories. I mean, Saw is brutal, right? I don't say I have fond memories of seeing everything, right, in the first Saw film or anything like that. It makes me sound sick, but I like the brutality of the Saw films as well and all that stuff. What do they call them? Gorehounds or something, if you like that sort of thing. Anyway, so I just completely contradicted myself. But anyway, let's carry on. So I'm looking forward to Saw 10 because apparently they're going to show a bit more of John Kramer going back earlier in the timeline. And I think Tobin Bell is great. So hopefully that will up the quality a bit of the latest Saw movie, but I didn't really like the last 3 sequels, 7, 8 and 9, Spiral as the 9th film. Not really into that, so Hopefully this will be just a step up and going back to good old creepy Saw again, but we'll just have to wait and see. I think that's it. Oh, Cobweb's another one. Of course, you've got The Exorcist Believe as well, another one that you guys are looking forward to based on my poll recently. And I'm quite looking forward to that actually myself. I'm just sort of not actually super into the Exorcist stuff, right? But I do remember the original and stuff, and that is quite some film. But anyway, that's all the stuff I'm looking forward to. Hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. It's gone on a little bit longer than anticipated, but I just wanted to go through and explain, that there's just a lot to cover here for the channel. And I'm going to do my best to get as much in September as I can and October. A lot going on. Obviously, that's even before we get towards the end of the year stuff. And I will undoubtedly be doing the usual stuff then. Top 20 albums of the year, all that kind of thing. And probably since the horror content has been in quite a lot of that this year. And I've seen quite a lot of films this year. There will be a top 10 horror films this year as well. So all that stuff, all coming up on The Green Man. Until next time, everybody, have great days, nights, whatever the time is. Take care. Bye for now.